So let's begin by providing a clear definition of the term prediction as it applies to predicting CVEs that will go on to be exploited in the wild. So at the moment, we're going to assume a basic notion of prediction, which is that we are gaining present knowledge about a future event. But we also need to define the term exploited in the wild in relation to this prediction process. So the term exploited in the wild is going to refer to a CVE exploitation event that happens in the real world. It involves someone having written or obtained a software exploit, a piece of software code that is then used to take advantage of a vulnerability. This vulnerability is described by the CVE. So the exploit makes some software or hardware do something that it was never intended to do and likely bad. And this exploit, once obtained, is then used in the real world. That's a key point. And in an illegal cyber attack against an asset or network not owned by the attacker. So we're predicting whether a vulnerability described by a CVE will eventually be leveraged in an exploit in the wild event. And so this is very distinct from predicting whether an exploit will be written. It has to be used in an attack. So our prediction is a binary true or false label that we apply to the CVE identifier. So if it's true, we're expecting that CVE to be exploited in the wild in the future. Our true or false label represents a recommendation that we feel that CVE has reached a certain threshold where we're recommending that you should fix this vulnerability immediately. So important to note, at the time of prediction, we assume no knowledge of the CVE having ever been exploited in the wild to date. So it is still possible that that has occurred. So we don't have perfect knowledge, and from what we can see, no one really has perfect knowledge in these types of instances. The prediction and the validation process takes place in an open world environment. So we're going to show the importance of prediction by showing that it has the ability to fill in knowledge gaps in threat intelligence and the ability to cut through scoring inconsistencies to help identify the most important CVEs to fix first in an RBVM process, namely those CVEs that have been or are currently being exploited in the wild and those that we think will be.